this morning, we learned staff members found 28-year-old Scott Stevenson unresponsive in his room around 5 p.m. Saturday, July 15th at Mesa County Community Corrections. Now, Mesa County officials confirmed to me Community Corrections staff tried to administer medical aid to Stevenson, but were not able to save him. However, you can tell from some of the crime scene tape placement behind me that it does appear that the suspect in this case attempted to flee from the Red Roof Inn over to Scarlet Drive. I'm stepping behind the camera right now because I can see some flames on the mountain ridge right there. That fire is definitely raging up there. Now, at the 5 p.m. show, UCR reported to me that just this afternoon, due to high winds and heat, the fire had expanded an approximate 20 to 40 acres. Now let's get to what's next. Prosecutors will have until January 23rd to submit an exhibits list. Then the following day is the subpoena return. And then once we get past January, February is when juror selection starts. Now, if you can hear that sound, that's exactly why. Let me get behind the camera and show you what that looks like and what's creating that sound. And that is that flow of water from the Dead Horse Creek. On Monday, I originally reported the fire as being an estimated 3,000 acres, and in speaking with a spokesperson for BLM and the UCR, they told me that figure was more specific, around 2,850 acres. I've learned the teacher has been placed on administrative leave while the district investigates, and I also reached out to the Grand Junction Police Department about the students' allegations. This morning, more than 30 people sat in courtroom 7, several of them wearing custom-made t-shirts to remember the victim in this case, 14-year-old Nicholas Crow. But it's worth a question as to why Mesa County commissioners have the ability to oversee all public health contracts when they only fund a tiny portion of the budget. That's only 4% or $475,000 of the county health department's $11.3 million budget. That's right, Kyra. Just earlier today, Senator John Hickenlooper was at the Grand Junction Airport to see the new runway. That new runway is being funded by the Federal Aviation Administration's Airport Improvement Plan, which sent $13.5 million to the Grand Junction Airport. Now, I too got to lay eyes on this new runway construction, and let me tell you, it is massive, just a huge project. CEO of the airport, Angela Padalecki, said that they're moving enough dirt to fill Ball Arena, that's the home of the Denver Nuggets, 8 times. Fill a basketball arena with dirt 8 times. Just a massive project. What's next for Tina Peters? Yet another new trial date. Judge Matthew Barrett set the date for February 9th, despite some objections from Peters' new defense team who were pushing for a later date.
Now, first on the Western Slope, you're watching KREX 5 News at 10 p.m.
Good evening, and thank you for staying up to watch KREX 5 News at 10. I'm Michael Logerwell. Now let's swing on over to District B, where it's a much tighter race between the two candidates. As you can see right here, looking to represent District B, we got Cindy Enos Martinez, who's currently trailing only by less than 400 votes. Guys, she's at that 49.5% mark, where Barbara Evanson is at 50%, about 50.5%. Waves of wintry weather are blowing into the Western Slope, icing roads, decreasing visibility, and making car crashes more likely. Our Noah Anderson is live in Grand Junction with the latest. Noah, what can you tell us?
But the animal removal efforts are stirring controversy.
The agency is using helicopters, even though they proved deadly in a recent roundup in Nevada. Our Danny Condon spoke with a representative of the Wild American Horses campaign. And now, Josephine, I know today is Wednesday. People are starting to look towards that weekend. Would you say this is a good weekend to head up to Powderhorn?
I would. I was thinking about it myself. What about you, Michael? I don't know. Do you know how to ski? Do you know how to snowboard?
So I snowboard a little, but, you know, I need that soft snow so I don't hurt myself.
Well, guess what? We do have some soft snow on the way.
Now, just weeks before the reintroduction of wolves into the Centennial State, 2 Colorado organizations have filed a lawsuit in hopes of delaying the animals' release. According to the Gunnison County Stock Growers Association and the Colorado Cattlemen's Association, Wildlife officials failed to adequately review the environmental impacts of the plan to reintroduce up to 50 wolves over the next several years. And Western Slope, this is the correct way to protect your eyes. No sunglasses. Don't just look straight into the sun. Don't just use reading glasses. Get some of these special eclipse glasses. They will save your eyes. Tell our viewers about who you are and what your experience is.
Sure. I'm a Colorado native. I grew up here in Grand Junction. I'm an attorney. Most of my law practice is representing rural electric cooperatives in the western part of the state.
City officials say Homeward Bound provides overnight shelter for people looking to get out of the freezing cold. But Mary tells us not all are allowed in. And on December 15th, United Way will open its new resource center, which will provide showers, restrooms, meal delivery, and change charging stations to those that need it. But the city made it clear it will not offer overnight shelter. Now, Josephine, I know during your full forecast you said Aspen and Gunnison had all that snow, double digits. We're not going to be getting anything like that this weekend in Grand Junction, are we?
I sure hope not. Our forecast kind of aligns with that as well.
80% of the people that wear vests that go in that water survive.
A snowy winter transformed the Colorado into a raging river this summer. These waters have claimed the lives of 5 people so far this year, including 30-year-old Peyton Shartner.
My sister was a fun, loving person. She's the most unique person I've ever met.
Peyton's brother, Michael, told us about her tragic drowning on July 15th.
They had visually inspected the water and determined that it looked safe enough to go in there.
Peyton and her mother went to Palisade to kayak that stretch of the Colorado River.
My sister had a life vest. She was asked to wear one. My mother did ask her to wear one. My sister chose not to wear a vest because she was concerned about her tan lines.
The consequences of that decision also caught her family and friends in its undercurrent.
She had 2 young daughters, one of them 3, one of them that was just born, that are now without a mother because of her decision to not wear a vest.
Altogether, Peyton leaves behind 4 children. She brought a life vest with her to the river, and her mother desperately threw it out to her after she was thrown from the kayak. Peyton grabbed on, but it wasn't enough.
But at that point, it was too late. She had been pulled under the water, and the asphyxiation had began.
Her brother Michael called us at KREX because he wants to spread awareness and help make sure a similar tragedy won't strike any more families.
You could be the strongest swimmer in the world, and you are not stronger than that river. It will pull you under.
At every boat ramp to the river in Grand Junction, you'll find free life jackets available thanks to the Save a Life program.
We have to explain to these younger children, especially over and over again, that their mom's gone because they cannot grasp that concept. And had she worn a vest, she would have very likely made it out of that river.
In lieu of flowers, Peyton's family is asking that you donate to the Mesa County Search and Rescue Swiftwater team. First on the Western Slope, Michael Logerwell, KREX 5 News. Victims were lining up as early as 6 a.m. this morning outside the federal courthouse to secure their seat in the Hess and Koch's sentencing hearing, a hearing that could net them a maximum of 20 years. Now, right now, the court is still hearing closing arguments. However, earlier today, I caught up with victims and their supporters.
Today means for us, the justice is finally gonna take place today.
Maria told me Sunset Mesa Funeral Home sold her brother to a plastination lab, and he's just one of the confirmed 222 victims of Megan Hess and Shirley Koch. But the federal government estimates there may be another 338 likely victims they have not been able to confirm. Government prosecutors say victim funeral expenses and Sunset Mesa's profits on this grisly trade total $1,254,293.90. For that, they say the mother and daughter should pay.
It's what we're hoping, that she gets the maximum.
Maria is not alone in her sentiment. Almost every victim who took the stand today asked Judge Argrello to sentence both Hess and Koch to the maximum.
Ultimately, I hope Megan Hess and Shirley Koch go to prison for 20 years, the maximum sentence.
Representative Matt Soper appeared in court to show his continued support for the victims. On the stand, dozens of victims told personal horror stories, nightmares, riddled with guilt, blaming themselves for not doing enough to keep their loved ones from this horrible fate.
But when I got the news that the ashes I had was not my brother's remains, cremains, To me, that day was like he died all over again.
3 hours of victim after victim, reliving the pain and suffering they said Hess and Koch's actions caused them. Many condemn Hess and Koch, saying they took advantage of their trust and loved ones for money. Megan Hess has been sentenced to 20 years in prison with 3 probation, and just now, her mother Shirley Koch was sentenced to 15 years in prison and 3 probation. The judge saying this was the most emotionally draining case she had ever presided, and even struggled to find legal precedent. Now, I caught up with some of the victims as they were leaving the courtroom, and several of them told me that they were pleased and that felt that justice had been done. However, others said on the stand today that no matter the outcome of the case, they will never have closure. First on the Western Slope outside the federal courthouse building, I'm Michael Logerwell.